Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, I recently got a message on our Spotify platform from a listener. It said, basically, Jake, the podcast is certainly educational, but you spend way too much time talking about your sponsors. In fact, this person said that I spent more time promoting the sponsors than I did providing educational content, which I think regular listeners know that's really not true. For a full episode, our opening sponsor spotlight takes about 3, maybe 4 minutes. And then each of our sponsors gets another 30-second shout out during the interview. So with, let's say 4 minutes at the beginning, and then with 9 sponsors, if we multiply that by 30 seconds each, we're looking at maybe 8, 9 minutes of total sponsorship time out of a 55, 60-minute interview. So again, the sponsors, I feel very good about the sponsors. They're companies that I use. I'm encouraging people to check them out, particularly new listeners or younger ADs. And if you used them, hey, fast forward through the sponsorship announcements. But we're going to keep doing them as a way to, promote them, as a way to say thank you. And yes, they do sponsor me, but I did use them before they became sponsors. So let's get to those, and then we're going to get to our Toolbox Extra. Here we go. We want to thank our good friends at Huddle. You've heard me say before, I used Huddle for years as a football coach, and as an AD, I made sure we were a Huddle school. And our coaches, our athletes, even our parents just love the Huddle platform. Go to huddle.com for more information. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents, your coaches, your student athletes, you're really missing out. You're probably going to be surprised. Most of the surveys are going to come back with positive reviews, but you're going to get a chance to hear from your stakeholders and put that information to use. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule a live web demo today. We also want to say thanks to Hometown. Hometown is changing the game with their solutions that include digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising. How about athletic website construction? If you're a principal or an AD, even a head coach, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Go to hometown.com to get started. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands, got his master's through the Ohio program. And while they were doing it, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record board or your school's Hall of Fame, check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of these units in your school, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and don't forget to mention the podcast. We want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is the official sports administration platform for a number of states, thousands of ADs, and if you're not using their platform, you really need to check it out. Their eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com to get started. We want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school, tremendous success, and it's going to work for you too. The website is snapraise.com. Check out their other platforms, but if you're looking for a fundraiser, You just found it, and it's Snap Raise. And we want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. It's the school marketing platform built to save you time. The Gipper team is going to show you how to engage your community using social media, email, and their easy to use templates are really going to amaze you. The website is Gipper.com. Check them out today. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD podcast and one of our Toolbox Extra segments. I think this is the first time for Toolbox Extra that we are going international. We're going to, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Jeju, South Korea, and we're going to be visiting with Michael Sawczynec. I'm going to let him tell you about his school and his background, but Michael, welcome to the Toolbox Extra.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well,
A little bit about myself. I'm from a small town in rural Wisconsin called Ellsworth. It's about as west as you can get. We're closer to Minneapolis than we are to Madison or Milwaukee. I was a three-sport athlete. I did football, wrestling, and just for fun, my senior year, I did a year of tennis. After high school, I went on to University of Minnesota Duluth, where I got my bachelor's in mathematics education and a minor in coaching. While there, I coached at Northwestern High School in Wisconsin, football for 5 years, wrestling for 4.5. I was offered a full-time teaching position there and coaching and to develop the wrestling program, but I made a decision to pursue a career nationally. So now I'm at about 11 years of being abroad so far. I work, sorry.
no, I was going to say, appreciate you sharing that. Wisconsin is quite, or I guess South Korea is quite a leap from
Yeah.
Wisconsin. I mean, what was the motivation behind that? You just wanted to get out and see the world, or did they reach out to you? How did that happen?
It goes a little twofold is so living in northern Minnesota or Wisconsin, I got really sick of the winters. So there was about a streak of 35 days in a row where it didn't get above zero. And that was the end for me. So there's a job fair at Northern Iowa for international teaching. I drove down there, got a job in Taiwan, and then that started my career path for being an international educator.
Oh wow, that's I still have a lot of friends in Wisconsin, Minnesota as ADs, and they'll post the temperature, and I'll tell them what the temperature is in out my window in Florida, and they're always I think they're kind of cursing me. So you made the jump. Were you an athletic director right away, or were you coaching? What was that first international experience like?
So my background in coaching is football and wrestling were my big two. Um, I ended up being a math teacher and I coached badminton for 5 years. Completely different out of my wheelhouse, so I had quite a bit to learn that way. I like playing the sport, but the only way for me to stay into athletics was to do a shift in my coaching career and to learn another sport that way. So I became an assistant coach for that, and then going into my fifth year, I was asked to kind of help and support the athletic program. Eventually, I became the athletic director at that school for 2 years. And then, so I was teaching about 4/5 of a teaching load and then 1/5 AD. But the AD kind of work always overtakes all the teaching time that I needed to do things that way.
Right. Now, you and I were talking before we started recording. You're a math teacher by trade, but obviously you did a lot of coaching. Over at your first international school, did they look at you and say, and this is me talking, did they look at you and say, oh, he's a math teacher, he's not an AD? Or did they see, boy, this guy really knows a lot about athletics, maybe he'd make a great AD? What was their perception?
So I think I got really lucky when I got hired. I think one of the main things that they looked at my background because like they hired me with zero experience. And so I think it was my background in coaching that got me the job. So they're like, oh, this guy's willing to get involved into the school, be involved with activities and things like that. But it also got to the point where they knew I had a passion for athletics. I was always there supporting every event that we had at the school, and I wanted to be involved as much as I could. Um, it just made sense for me to start making the jump because into something else. So I was really excited to make that leap.
Now, I want to hear about your current school, say Johnsbury Academy, but um, when you got to South Korea, there had to be some kind of learning curve, culture shock. What are your memories of those, the first week, first month, first year?
Yeah, so so my school, like the area I live in is super unique. It's called the Global Education City, and there's four international schools here. And so I actually live or worked at the one next door in their boarding program originally, being their associate dean of boarding. And so I organized clubs, trips, activities, and did some like minor discipline. So I actually got the job during COVID. So I got to the country, and the first thing I did was quarantine for 2 weeks. And then I had to figure out what was going on. But the culture here, like on our island, is different than the rest of Korea because Jeju, they like to call it the Hawaii of Korea. It snows. It's not really the Hawaii of Korea. It's got 4 seasons, so it's not really that way. But it's a great area to be in. I've enjoyed it all. But the I don't know, biggest culture shock for me has just been a little bit of food differences. Um, a lot of things are pickled, a lot of things are red, but they all taste good. I've had no issue with finding food or doing what I need to here.
Oh, boy, we could take this in a lot of different directions. We're gonna have to get you back on the podcast and do a full interview. All right. You're now the director of athletics at St. Johnsbury Academy. Tell our listeners a little bit about the school. How many students, what types of programs, what are you really proud of?
Yeah, so our school is around 1,000 kids from pre-K up to grade 12, with about over 400 being in our high school. We run over, what are we at? About 400. I also do activities, organize all those too. So we run over 400 activities school wide. So that's a big undertaking. We have about 60 competitive athletic teams and 24 varsity sports at our school. Probably one of the bigger programs internationally when you look at things that way. Our campus includes, we have 3 indoor courts that are right next to each other. So it's pretty big gym inside, 25-meter pool. We have 4 tennis courts, full FIFA size soccer pitch. We're also the only international school in Korea with an 8-lane track. And then there's obviously dedicated weight room, dance studios, and our performing arts center to do things that way. Um, Basically, one of the things I'm proud of is like I came into this job, I was only the second AD here. The first couple years they didn't really have one, and then next couple a guy did his best to support the program, but it just kind of needed a boost after him. So I came in and I developed all the structures, all the handbooks, everything that needed to get the athletics up to par with the other schools that way. So, been responsible for developing a lot of the culture here at our school. Biggest thing that I'm proud of has been like our sports council at our school. These students run my events. I just co-hosted a 16-team volleyball tournament. So I had 8 boys volleyball teams at my school, and then 8 at the school across the street. And those students did everything from lines, tables, social media, live streaming, working the head table, everything that was needed. The students did a lot of hands on, so it was great to see um, them work on that.
Now, before we get into the extra part of the toolbox, you and I were talking. You got your master's through one of our great sponsors, Ohio University. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
So when I was in Taiwan, as I got that job, I'm like, well, my goal has always been to I'm young in the career, so I wanted to get my master's before I turned 30. And so I applied, got in, and the program was great. It worked really, really well for my schedule and how things work. So I was doing one class at a time, but I had 2 classes per semester, and it was perfect. Not too much of an overload. I really like that I going to see the campus was great during the summer. See what they offer and what they can do. Finally, actually meeting all those people you interact with online is great, and to create those connections, I really enjoyed. And then also the added benefit of getting, I think it's up to like 11 LTI courses completed through their program. So that was a great added benefit when it comes to trying to get my certificates through the NIAAA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe that was a good question on my part to transition into the Toolbox Extra. You shared with me that you were going to talk, just throw out a general theme, education. So, um, what do you have for our listeners in the Toolbox Extra?
So yeah, one of my big things in to get into my role has been my education. Transition internationally from, like I said, from math teacher to athletic director is not something that usually happens in the international world. A lot of times they expect a PE teacher to do it. So they'll make them be a part-time PE and then they have to do athletics. So when you look for job postings, it's always PE and athletic director. And so you get the rarity with the big schools that just want the AD position. So um, I've kind of worked my education into that benefit to pursuing jobs. So a lot of the times they'll ask for experience, sometime in PE or physical education or sports management. So I have my master's in athletic administration, and that's benefited me. So most of my job is basically has come about because of timing, opportunity, and I think my education. Um, like I said, being able to pursue my education while teaching at a small school um, helped me get to where I am. The 1/5 AD with the small stipend was great, but it was more about getting my foot in the door of athletic directing to develop things after that. After my role in Taiwan, I applied at the neighboring school, CAS Jeju, for AD and math and got turned down from them both. But their head of school liked me enough and knew what I wanted to do that he pulled me in to be the associate dean of boarding. And because it involves clubs, trips, activities, so that kind of planning, which is can be similar for an international AD. So I think my background is the reason why I kind of stood out for him into that role. Once I finished those, first thing I did was try to get my certifications done through the NIAAA. Um, I got my RIAA, so the registered, or sorry, RAA first when I was still in the master's program. So about halfway through, I qualified. So we went went to get that stuff done that way. Um, and then I think it was right timing, right place for with my background. I got my CIAA as fast as I could also. That I think was in 2021 or 2022, the early part of January. So when that test and those options became available, I did it as fast as I could. I want to be one of the first ones on the market to have those certifications going forward. Since then, I've probably taken around 20 NIAAA courses, a little spendy on my wallet, but it's something I'm passionate about, and I want to make sure I'm well informed with what I'm doing. I've achieved my CIA, my CAA because I needed to hopefully pursue my CMAA. So currently I'm working on that project. I'll probably have that done within a couple weeks, and I'll submit that to the NIAAA for approval that way. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that my education is at the forefront and all my certs to make sure I stand out with what I'm doing in my role. This past year, I went to the IAAC, which is the International Athletic Administrators Association Conference in Bangkok, and I was able to teach one of the 900 courses there for the first time. So that was a great experience that way.
Again, I really appreciate you going through that chronology of how you've been, working on your own professional development. Let's go and talk CMAA for a minute. You mentioned you're almost done with your project. Can you share with our listeners how you came to decide on that particular topic, and how are you going to present it? Are you doing the written, or are you going to do the oral presentation?
Oh, I'm doing the oil presentation. I think most athletic directors are pretty extroverted people, and so it's a little easier for us to explain things that way. So I'm doing the oil presentation. But my project's on my sports council. I'm very proud of what we have for it. I have 14 leaders that help run my committees, my presidents, vice presidents, and doing things that way. And then I have in total over 80 members in the high school that help me run my events here. Um, it took a little bit of time to get everything developed and running, but it's probably the thing I'm most proud about at the school. Um, it's been an immense help at our school. I think like as international schools, some schools are not able to pay table workers or to pay linesmen for volleyball tournaments or doing different things that way. So my kids are trained. So I have the higher kids up, train the lower kids that are new to the program, and they teach them exactly what's needed. And it's just a trickle down effect of what's needed. And then this is my fourth year doing it. And so I've seen students that just worked as a table worker my first year to now they're president of my sports council. So it's great to see that grow.
Now, it's great that you've got a history. I was on certification committee for a number of years, so I got to hear projects as they were being presented. A lot of times there were still ideas. Sometimes it was they had done it for 1 year. You've got 4 years of data.
Yep.
I guess what's one thing that you've seen over the years that is just it's a foundational principle. Without this thing, the program wouldn't work. And what's something that you've learned along the way that you had to tweak or maybe add to the whole process of organization?
So one of the committees I started with, so committee adjustment has been the big thing for me. I started with a committee called Junior Coaches to hopefully get students certified through the NFH Learn program, and then they would go down and help the younger kids in coaching. My leaders slowly stopped attending my meetings, and so that committee just disappeared. So it's slowly things have been morphing and changing. I think end of the year the reviews have been seeing what's needed and what's not. So like changing to adjust. Like I used to call it film for when we were doing our live streaming. Now I've changed it to broadcasting. So now I can have students actually do commentary over games. So this past weekend I had commentary um, by students with our games that were going on that way. Um, Also, one of the weird things is social media. Like I've gone through Gipper, I've gone through Canvas of working with different companies giving me templates. The kids didn't like them. So that really confused me because I'm like, well, this is very professional looking. It's really easy. Go ahead and use them. My students didn't want that. They wanted their own design, their own ideas, and to make it that way. So if it's for the kids, I'll let it be by the kids fully. So they make their own designs and templates and everything we do that way, announcing game day post results or anything like that. So I let them take it and run with it, and I just approve it.
Wow, got some budding, graphic designers there coming up. You know, talking about the broadcasting and having the students get involved with that. We're recording this on September 23rd. Actually, tomorrow in real time, September 24th, we're dropping an episode. A student of mine who was our high school's public address announcer for football, basketball, volleyball, all the sports for the better part of 3 years while he was still in high school. Went on to SMU, worked in their TV, broadcasting journalism department. Now he's a writer and a broadcaster for professional pickleball here in the States. So again,
Yeah.
you just never know about that seed that we plant as athletic directors, how it's going to grow and take off. Um, have you had any students that have been part of the program that have gone on? It's probably still too soon, but they're doing that collegiately or at university that you know of?
So I would have right now, but one of the students who like the person who did the commentary was a student who graduated last year. He was planning to go to, he got into Rice University for sports management. So he's been my sports council president and he's gone through the ranks of what's needed to do that way. But with everything that's going on with the US or visa issues or things like that, also he's Korean, he's got to do military service.
Oh,
He
yeah.
deferred his um acceptance to the university to do his military service. So I've taken him into my program and he's been kind of doing an internship and working with that kind of stuff. So he was super, super excited to do commentary. He's been wanting to do it since for a couple years now, but now I've been able to throw him in and he's enjoyed it so much. So he's helped develop a lot of the atmosphere at our games, doing things like that. So yes, he's just sports management. Him and his sister are both trying to go to the same university and for the same study. Both are sports management.
Oh, well, that's great that the university, deferred their, admission. Good for them. But hey, good for you. You get, you said intern. I'm going to say you get like a GA there that not only can, keep promoting the program, but also be a great example and model to the current students that are coming up of, hey, this is how you do things, and this is what happens when you do a good job.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it is trying to get the students to what they like and what they want to do. And so
Yeah.
I've seen it grow in the past couple of years. Like I think the last couple of years I've seen about 6 to 8 kids go on for sports management at our school now because of what they've been seeing at our school.
Oh, well, that is so cool. Now, I've got to ask you, are you going to make it over to the States for the NIAAA national conference in December? Are you coming to my state, coming to Tampa?
I wish, but we are actually due with our second child next week.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess that
So
takes precedence. Well, hey,
yeah, so there's
uh,
no way. We did it. We went a couple years ago when it was in Orlando.
okay.
Uh, and my son was about 4 months old, so we flew over for that. And so to meet family and to do things like that. But this year we're going to stay put as they're doing the first of October.
Yeah. No, well, that sounds like a good idea. Well, Michael, thanks so much for sharing with our listeners and all the best, with the school and, with your second child. Before we go, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit about your, student program or about any of the tools that you're using there at St. Johnsbury Academy, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I assume my name will be able to pop up somewhere for this episode, so I don't have to spell it out. But also my email address works fine. It's sawczz002@gmail.com.
Okay. Absolutely. We will put the correct spelling of your name on the Gipper graphic, by the way, when we promote this. So, Michael, again, we're going to definitely get you back on the podcast for a full interview down the road. As I said, all the best. And if there's anything that we can do at the podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. Thank you very much.
For our listeners, we want to say thanks to you and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Toolbox Extra just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories from the world of athletics along with some best practices. So please join us again on the next episode of the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, guess what? We're going to give a shout out to our great sponsors. We want to say thanks to Gipper, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, Snap Raise. I want to say thank you to Huddle and Athletic Surveys. I want to thank Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Tables and Video Boards, Home Campus, Ohio University, and Hometown. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD Podcast.